Okay, starting today, we're going to be looking at some of my recent and then older publications. I will begin recently and then we'll go back in time. This is one that was just completed this year, January.
Tell us the year.
And this actually was something that I did in 1964, but I had never written a document on it. So I thought that that really should be done, considering the archaeological sites on the Savannah River have since been destroyed. And then we have photographs of the artifacts found here, and they are good color pictures. This particular archaeological site then covers 3 individual sites that date to different periods of time. All right, then we'll go back to possible location for Fort Caroline. And this document was just finished recently, 3 to 4 months ago. And I'm doing a very detailed study of where Fort Caroline was located. It seems to me that Fort Caroline improperly located many years ago, and it's just a very, very strange idea as to why Fort Caroline is located in the wrong place. But if you sit down and really look at the maps, it becomes immediately obvious that the archaeological site was not located on the St. Johns River. Rather, the archaeological site is located on the St. Mary's River. Then I have another publication, July 2013. This is a very detailed document on Kelvin late woodland culture on the lower Georgia coast. The reason I felt it was necessary to do this document is because at least 4 Florida publications have come out considering Kelvin to be nothing but a short period of time, and that I had information here that indicated that Kelvin was a very long period of time. Sites all over Glenn County, very amazing and large archaeological sites that are now being destroyed. Then, in January 2011, I did another study of 2 particular documents. So one of these documents was actually located in my grandparents' backyard. That was an archaeological site where the people came in probably in the fall with a load of acorns, and then they spread out those acorns on blankets, and these acorns had to be quickly dried. And the soil there was the kind of soil that they needed. For example, the soil in the front yard of my grandparents, when I used a thermometer to test it, it would test to about 76 degrees and then never test higher. If I went into the backyard where all the artifacts were found and put the same thermometer in the soil, then the soil temperature would run up to 120 degrees. The reason is, of course, that the soil was made up of very large grains of sand, and that all of the moisture from a rainfall would immediately pass through, the soil would dry out, and then the sun would begin to rise the temperatures. Then the other archaeological site is one in Turtle River. And this archaeological site was designed to be the one operation of getting on the shore and then getting prepared to do a deer hunt, and at that time the area surrounding was not just a river marsh. At that time the sea level was lower, and it was in the middle of a cypress tree forest. Very interesting. Oh, and incidentally, at this archaeological site, we found only 2 pieces of Indian pottery, but we found dozens of projectile points and knives, because those would be the things that would be used in hunting. Now, at this archaeological site here, we didn't find any stone tools. Rather, we found a lot of Indian pottery, I think around 300 fragments of Indian pottery. The reason being, when these people were drying the acorns, they had to have pots filled with water to drink. Then, in February 2010, I did an archaeological study of a site on St. Simon's Island that had really never been studied. This was a Swift Creek Indian site. And of course, Swift Creek is identified by a very specific type of pottery. So this was done and reported. Okay, then we go to a profile paper. This is a publication. And it just has a lot of short archaeological reports. And then we go back to another archaeological study. This particular study was also done as for professional reasons. This is the bluff along the Darien River. We did a very intensive archaeological study. I think this particular document is, let's see how many pages it was. It's quite a lot. Well, about 200 pages. All right, then we have an archaeological investigation of Bill Stevens' property in Savannah. And Bill was a friend of mine, and as a result of my archaeological lesson that I was running at the college, I went to his site and basically dug in the land that was right next to his house. This particular archaeological site was from the Irene period. Okay, then we go to a different publication, South Carolina Antiquities. This publication is volume 2, number 2, 1979. And then another South Carolina Antiquity. And this one is volume 12, 1980, another archaeological report here. I think this archaeological report is a little difficult to remember after so much time. Anyway, then we have another South Carolina Antiquity. And this South Carolina Antiquity is volume 14, 1982. And then we go to the Chesapeakean. And in this particular article, Chesapeakean, this is volume 21, number 3. It's July, September 1983. And here I have an article, Southeastern Ceremonial Complex Symbolism on the Georgia Coast. And here we have figured a lot of Indian pottery. Now this Indian pottery was Indian pottery found in Camden County. This Indian pottery had a very special design. Most of the designs were incised on the pot. Then we have another Chesapeake. And again, this Chesapeake was volume 24, number 4, fall of 1986. And the article that I wrote was Origin and Change of Irene Rim Decoration in Coastal Georgia. So we have some excellent pictures of Irene Rim decoration here. And here's another page with decoration of Irene rims. Even though there were lots and lots of Irene rim types, it does seem that these rims occurred over and over again through time. Okay, then if we go to the Chesapeake again, and this is an earlier document, volume 25, number 1, winter 1987, and my article here was the 7 Mile Bend point. This is a very, very early point. And I think I've got a fair picture in here to show this point. This particular point has very unusual characteristics. That would be a flute or groove on each side of the point, and then with the bottom 1/3 of the point having the edge, which would be very sharp, having the edge ground down so that the sharpness would not cut the material that would be holding the projectile on a wooden spear. Okay, next then we have an article called Perforated Stone Slab. Actually, that would be a specific type of stone material called steatite. The whole idea behind this was at one point these stones were considered to be net weights, but that doesn't make any sense. Why? Because the people that lived on the Savannah River had to trade a very long distance to get this material. So it just doesn't make any sense that they would trade over hundreds of miles to get the material and then throw it in the river. If the stone broke, it would fall off. No, this stone had another purpose. Here's some pictures of the stone. Purpose of this stone was that you could throw it in a fire and it would heat up. It would not crack, it would not split, it would not be broken in any way. So this stone then was used for cooking before pottery was invented. Take the stone, put it in the fire, get it hot, and then throw it into a wooden bowl. And then here's my very, very first document, the Kent Mound. And this particular excavation of the Kent Mound was written in 1965. And then here's a different type of document. This was actually done in recent years, probably I'd say about 5-6 years ago. This is a document that involved the bottles and kegs within Glenn County itself. And these were bottles and kegs that dated to the late 19th century. And I did an absolute study of this in determining how these were made, how they worked, how they functioned, what type of plugs they had in the top, were held down by wires or other material. And of course, through this document, all of these are very specifically described. Then at the end of this, we have an appendix that shows exactly how rare these items are. Thank you.